Yesterday, one of our amazing viewers asked me this question. How do you escape gang stalking? The key to escaping gang stalking is understanding and trusting your intuition. If you're new here, gang stalking is a bunch of people grooming and manipulating a single individual to make decisions that will work against them in the future. You're going to have people encouraging you to gamble, to drink, to have unprotected sex, to not sleep, to make risky choices, to start smoking, to do illicit substances. This process takes a long time for the effects to be visible. So in the beginning, when you're being gang stalked, you really don't know. All of a sudden, you just have an avalanche of people trying to talk to you. But the concept of gang stalking is typically unknown by the victim. Over time, the target becomes more easy to manipulate. That's just how it is. Slowly but surely, the victim snowballs into a phase of self-destruction where all of the things that were previously set to the target kind of just flourish, and the victim simply just starts destroying themselves, and it will appear to the world as if they are destroying themselves in their own volition, by their own volition. Now, there's a point in gang stalking where there is an active intent by these groomers that intend to drive the person crazy so that they will lose their credibility. And this is the craziest part about the whole thing, is that there is a huge campaign on the internet where these gang stalkers themselves claim to be victims of gang stalking, and they put a lot of content about themselves being harassed with directed energy weapons. They claim that the government is involved. A lot of gobbledygook, a lot of information that doesn't help, only confuse. If you don't believe me, just look on gang stalking on YouTube or any social media, and then you're literally gonna find comment after comment after comment with pictures, with evidence of people claiming that they were harassed by drones, that the government is after them, that is somehow related to the Freemasons, that it has to do with Epstein files, and they're gonna pull out magazines or images or documentaries of this conspiracy theory stuff. The crazy thing about conspiracy theories is that they cannot be disproven. So over time, the mind of the target discombobulates. And by discombobulating, I mean that it starts producing weird sensations on your body. The victim starts hearing voices. The mind of the victim produces pain on their body. It literally does. I remember that a couple of years ago, one day I had a bump right here. It looked like a freaking tumor. I was scared, and then the next day it wasn't there. I'm not exaggerating, I'm not making it up. There was like a freaking bump right here, and it went away. Additionally, I used to feel a lot of pain on my teeth, and my teeth were in perfect condition. They still are, thankfully, because I take care of them. But those inexplicable pains led me to go to the dentist a lot of times because I didn't know what was going on. Also, I would feel a lot of really weird sensations on my entire body. And because there is no actual explanation for these sensations, when you go online and look for any of this information, all that you see is people claiming that they are being harassed with directed energy weapons. The thing about perception is that if you know you're right, but you have enough people telling you that you're wrong, you're going to start doubting yourself. When you go online and say that you're being gang stalked and that you hear voices, you go on Twitter X and then you're going to see people, oh, I'm being harassed with V2K, the voices, and it's AI. And the fact that there is no information about how gang stalking manipulates the mind, you as a targeted individual are disoriented, which takes your ability away of taking action, because since everything is so disorienting, you do not know what to do. You're always second guessing your own actions. That is the worst part of gang stalking, is that you're going to be questioning whether or not you should drink water, whether or not you should look at your phone. There is a point where you start to get so paranoid that you don't really know how to behave. How the hell do you escape this? Step number one to escaping gang stalking, first step is understanding that when you are being gang stalked, anyone can potentially be a harasser. Anyone. You have to keep the possibility open. And let me tell you, if a gang stalker watches this video, that person is going to be like, oh, you're being paranoid. But look, being paranoid doesn't mean that they're not after you. So I prefer to be paranoid and cautious rather than not paranoid and put myself in danger. I'm telling you this because in the beginning of my gang stalking operation, I didn't take the precautions that I should have. So I never took the precaution of keeping my phone and my keys in a drawstring bag on me all of the time, which led me to having phones stolen, broken, my keys stolen from me, copied even, regardless of where you are. So you pretty much have to assume that you are in Mexico. And look, I'm Mexican. I know my people. So if you leave an iPhone somewhere without any supervision, it's gonna get stolen. That's just how it is. So you have to assume that anyone can steal anything from you. That's your keys, your phone, any of those things. So you have to assume that everyone is after you. You have to assume that anything that you leave unattended will get stolen. You have to assume that anyone is a potential thief, anyone is a potential harasser. Second, after number one sits down, after you accept that anyone could be a potential harasser, you have to understand that the people that harass you, whether it's direct or indirect, want you to kill yourself. It's crude, but that's the truth. Anyone that participates in your gang stalking operation wants you gone. Gang stalking is a life sentence. Like they want you gone. They want you gone. They really do. But they want to make it appear that you do it to yourself. Being gang stalked is something incredibly serious. Incredibly serious. And the only reason that I survived it was because I understood how serious it was. So anyone that participates in your gang stalking operation, you have to forbid to talk to you. So block as many people as you need. Right now, I have like 400 people blocked on my YouTube account. I have like 500 people blocked on Facebook. I have almost 1,000 people blocked in total. 1,000 people, dude. 1K people. And your block button is gonna be your best friend. Like you have to feel comfortable blocking people. And you're gonna be guessing yourself, you're gonna be questioning whether or not someone is a gang stalker. But look, don't try to be sure before blocking anyone because gang stalkers will make sure that you are never sure whether they are your friends or not. A lot of these people are going to be nice to you and then they're going to do something to F you up. That's just how it is. So anyone that does anything, even once, that Fs you up, that results in you having a bad time, losing money, anything getting stolen from you, anyone that encourages you to have unprotected spicy activity, use illicit substances, anyone who even mentions them casually. And I'm telling you this because I've had people whom I've had known for many years who literally just sent me a message. This was a person that I had known for many years, and she said, do you just love doing that first rip, just like when you hit a pipe, the crack pipe? And it's like she's married and has children. Why is a married woman with children gonna be talking to me about how amazing it feels to hit the crack pipe? So I ban her. And if you do not know that gang stalking is grooming and brainwashing and manipulation, you're gonna be doubting the intention of that person. So you have to understand that gang stalking in itself is designed to not let any evidence to be there. That's what it boils down to. So all of the manipulation is done in a form that you can't legally say that it's manipulation. And this is where your intuition kicks in. You will know, like you're gonna feel it in your gut that something has an intention. You're gonna see it on their face. You will actually recognize it. Like there is, when you experience gang stalking for a very long time, you're going to notice that the way these people treat you has an essence to it, an essence that is meant to, an essence where you know that what they're doing is meant to F you. You're going to feel the hate in their actions. And this is your intuition telling you that that person is doing something to F you. And you're never going to get evidence. You're not going to have any evidence, but the evidence that you need and that you can always depend on is your intuitive evidence. You're going to know, you're going to feel it. You're literally going to feel it. So you have to sit and accept your intuition and listen to it. And Don't try to reason with it. Don't reason with it. Don't accuse anyone of what they're doing because they're always going to tell you that you're wrong. They're going to tell you that you're crazy. And even if you have the evidence in front of them, they're going to tell you that you're wrong. So when you are being gang stalked, even if you have evidence, just know that they're going to say that you're wrong. They're always going to tell you that you're wrong. So don't even try to argue with these people. Don't accuse them of gang stalking you. Don't. Because the moment that you do that, they're going to call you crazy. What you do though is if you have to see these people every day and you work with them, tell them to not speak to you. If they ask you why, tell them that you don't have to explain yourself to them, just that they're making you uncomfortable or that you feel a hostile energy coming from them. Call HR, and if, for example, they're coughing around you, whenever they're like right by you, you want to call HR and tell HR that this coworker is coughing right next to me, even though when I ask them to cough in another direction, this person is coughing next to me and towards me. And this person is doing it to create a hostile work environment. This person is doing it to bother me. And you want to leave a paper trail of reports because if your workplace doesn't do anything, then you can file a lawsuit. But you have to make sure to report your experience with HR. Always report it to HR. Don't try to reason with the harassers. Immediately go to HR because the moment that you confront them, they're going to tell you that you're crazy or that your perception is wrong. So call HR, and if you did confront them, you're going to have to tell them that you already tried to talk to them, but they keep insisting that your perception is not valid. If something weird is happening at your workplace, you want to make sure to snap pictures and call HR. You have to document as much of the harassment that happens, any underhanded comment, you write it down. And if this is happening to you and you're being gang stalked, just know that all of these people probably told you a lot of times that no one is going to believe you or that you're crazy. And that is meant to discourage you from not reporting. That's the exact reason that I didn't report when it was happening to them. It was because I didn't really understand what was happening to me. You are going to be made to not trust your intuition. And you're going to be pretty much confused all the time, which is exactly why you have to make sure to understand that by this point, you probably have been groomed for a long time to take substances, to take things that will mess up your mind and that will distort your perception of reality. That is part of gang stalking. So you have to not associate with anyone that even vaguely mentions any type of substance. You have to make sure that no one that is even casually talking about drugs or anything that can lead you to put yourself in a dangerous situation has the ability to talk to you because that's how gang stalkers control your behavior. They make suggestions, they nudge your behavior. And it's going to come from a lot of people, some maybe whom have been your friends in the past. And that's what you have to understand is that a lot of these nudges are going to come from a sea of people. And once you accept that anyone could be a gang stalker, you have to understand that anyone that participates in anything that is gang stalking related wants you gone, which is exactly why you have to stop talking to any of those people immediately. Immediately. Any type of interaction with these people is going to be used to get some information about what you're going to do later or somehow manipulate you into behaving in a way that works against your best interest. For example, when I was lean AF and I had abs, my coworkers were always talking to me about tacos and about junk food. And guess what? They were even inviting me to eat. And the moment that I lost my abs, like all of that stopped. Which is crazy, you know. So that's how gang stalking works. But it works actually it works in that exact same way, but with substances, with ill behaviors, with everything that could potentially F you. All of those people are out there to F you. If you let your guard down, like if you leave your phone unattended, they're gonna hide it from you. And they're gonna try to make you feel paranoia. And then they're gonna be like, "Oh, you left it over here," but you're gonna know in your heart, your intuition is gonna tell you that it was something done purposefully. They're always trying to do things that will keep your stress levels as high as possible. That's how gang stalking works. Gang stalking actively tries to keep your stress levels up so that you start overthinking. So, this is why you have to understand the following. These things are going to be done by a lot of people, and they do this by the power of influence. So, you have to understand this. A lot of people are trying to influence to do things that will work against you. And once you understand that, once you accept that as being truth, you're gonna be able to discern who is a gang stalker and who isn't. So anyone that is actively pushing out ideas of intercourse, of not using protection, of gambling, of drinking, even if it comes in the form of a question or a friendly suggestion, you have to get rid of those people because that's how they put ideas in your mind. And this is the thing about gang stalking is that you're gonna find a lot of people trying to contact you. People are gonna be weirdly insistent in getting a hold of you. That is a big red flag. Now, once you have that part taken care of, you want to make sure to use as much personal security as possible. And if something weird happens, you want to make it public. I'm going to give you an example. A mechanic, well, actually, let me back up a little bit. One day when I was working at the O'Reilly Auto Parts in Imperial Beach, I pushed my brakes and the light of my brake pads being worn out came up. So immediately after that, I went to work at the O'Reilly Auto Parts, and one of the mechanics told me, "Huh, so how are your brakes doing?" Out of nowhere. I didn't know what to do about that because I didn't understand what was happening at the time. But all I did, I was said, "Oh, my brakes are fine. Why?" And he was like, "Wait, what?" Like that. So that told me that he had something to do with it. So if I would have known back then what I know now, I would have taken a picture of the person, I would have grabbed his phone number, and I would have called the cops, and I would have told the cops what happened with this information. Because that's crazy. And that's what I should have done. So when you're being gang stalked, you're gonna notice that a lot of weird things are actively gonna be happening to you. So you want to make sure to report all of the crazy things that are happening. Notice that when you go online, not cops, but gang stalkers are actually gonna discourage you by telling you, "Oh, cops are internet." And one thing that is true about gang stalking is that some cops will be part of it. So if you are ever harassed by a cop, you snap a picture of the cop, you snap a picture of their car, and you report that too. You report any type of harassment that is coming from a legal authority. You want to report that. So if you are having any encounter with the cops, you want to make sure to be always recording that. To as soon as you're being stopped, you get your phone and you start recording everything that is happening to you. You record it. You want to have evidence of as many crazy things as happened to you. You want to leave a paper trail of events. Even if it's a crazy amount, that doesn't matter. You want to make sure to leave a paper trail of things that are happening to you. Because that way, if you file a lawsuit for organized conspiracy harassment, there's going to be an actual paper trail. That's how you can back up your claims, by leaving a trail of reports. And in this video, if a gang stalker watches it, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to say, "Oh no, I called the cops and they said that I was crazy and they took me to a psych ward. They said that gang stalkers don't exist." Gang stalkers are going to try to convince you that reporting is bad for you and everyone is going to think that you're crazy. That's how I was discouraged from leaving a paper trail of things that were happening to me. If you are being harassed by anyone, you want to snap a picture of the person and you want to call the cops. Every single incident that happens to you, you call the cops and you leave a paper trail. Why? Because that way you leave evidence. Reporting is your backup plan if you want to file a lawsuit. That is the evidence that gang stalkers don't want you to have. That's why every single video that talks about defending yourself from gang stalking, they tell you the cops are internet. And look, a lot of times the cops will be internet, but that's why I'm telling you, you record every single interaction with the cops, and if they do something that is weird, you report it. But always, always, always record every interaction with the cops, all of the time. If your boss in any job that you have is involved, and if your intuition tells you that they are involved in gang stalking, you record every single conversation. And look, you don't even have to be sure that you're being gang stalked. You're gonna know that something is weird. you're gonna know that the interactions with people somehow have turned sour. That's all you need. So start recording and start reporting weird things that are happening to you. And don't confront these people. And don't record them in a state of panic. Always keep your composure. Record, make your notes, and call the cops. Any type of harassment, you call the cops. You don't tell them, oh, you stop harassing me. You're a gang stalker. Don't say that because they're always going to say that you're crazy. That's how victims of gang stalking are made to doubt their intuition. So all you do is block and report. So anything that strikes you off as weird, you block immediately. People that I had never met before were literally sending me a bunch of pictures of spicy action, and they were like, "Oh, do you want me to f you?" Like that. And it's weird because they never even said hi, how are you? And even though that's common, but when I was being gang stalked, I was getting those by the hundreds. And that happened for many years. So the moment that I began blocking that, I stopped being an info. I was an info for many years because of that experience. All of that has a very real impact on you. It really, really does. So you have to understand that. To escape gang stalking, you have to defend. You have to defend and you have to attack. But the attacks is the reporting. That's your way of defending yourself. And look, you don't have to record them in the act because as soon as you start recording them, they're gonna stop doing whatever they're doing. But you have your testimony. And gang stalkers are gonna try to convince you that your testimony is invalid. And it's not. Social media is incredibly powerful. So anything that happens to you, you post it immediately on social media because you want them to be scared of messing with you. And you want to catch their faces and you want to publish it and then you want to report. Gang stalkers don't want you to expose them. And when you expose them, don't expose them as gang stalkers, expose them as hostile people. Because once you start exposing them as gang stalkers, you're gonna appear paranoid because the entire gang stalking experience has the connotation of paranoid schizophrenia. So don't call them gang stalkers. Just accuse them of being hostile and make it as public as possible because the only reason that gang stalkers can harass you publicly is because they're counting on you not saying anything or at you freaking out and behaving like some type of crazy person. So what you do is literally just record the person and make it public. I cannot emphasize that enough. Now, on the internet side of things, just know that if you are making your experience of gang stalking public, you're going to have a lot of people online trying to dissuade you from reporting. Like I'm telling you right now, that's going to happen. And you're going to probably see comments of that on this video. And if there are, and when they do, get here, I'm going to make a video about them. So just understand that gang stalkers are going to try to nudge you into not defending yourself. They're going to say that the cops are going to call you crazy. They're going to say that no one is going to believe you, but don't believe that. You are a human being and you are not a target yet. You are only a TI once they really start messing with you hard. So please understand this. Gang stalking starts with a long time of manipulation, and then it evolves into the gang stalking that you read online. The one with the directed energy weapons, the one with the government involvement, with the Freemasons. I didn't know I was gang stalked until 4 years later, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and it took me like 3 years to understand how everything worked. It took me like 3 years. But I could only figure it out because it was a pattern of behavior that never changed. It was predictable. Just like how I predicted people are going to comment on this telling me that I'm crazy and that I'm wrong and that I look like a schizophrenic crazy person talking about gang stalking. Just wait. I'm expecting those comments to be here. But when you're being gang stalked, just know that you're going to have people actively try to push you into taking substances because substances open your mind to manipulation and they distort your perception of reality. So if you don't take any substances from the get-go, gang stalking is never gonna evolve into believing that you're being harassed by the government. It's not. You're gonna know you're being gang stalked and you can be sabotaged and all of that, but you're never gonna go over that, you know? So what you have to understand is that if you take any mind altering substance, you're literally effing yourself. You're literally setting yourself up for total loss. So anyone that talks to you about drugs, even to be like, oh, have you taken any substances? Consider them gang stalkers because that's freaking weird. Anyone that talks to you about any of that of substances of substance abuse, you don't engage with any of those people. I even had people from NA meetings talk to me about using substances, and they were inviting me to use substances. Someone who was literally in the same meeting that I was. So you literally cannot trust anyone, and anyone that comes at you with even vaguely mentioning that, you simply block because remember, the people that participate in the grooming, in the manipulation, literally want you done. They want you crazy permanently. That's what you have to understand. So you want to do everything possible so that that doesn't happen. When you're being gang stalked, just understand that a lot of these people are gonna approach you. A lot of them. So it doesn't evolve if you keep yourself protected like that. It's never gonna go beyond narcissistic abuse. But that's what keeps the gateways close to gang stalking is the substances. If you never engage in the substances, it's never gonna go all the way to gang stalking. But you have to make sure that you do not allow any demonized person or anyone involved with substances with any type of immoral or ill behavior. You don't allow them to get into, and that includes like group spicy activities. It involves all of that because all of that typically leads to substance abuse. So you wanna stay on the moral side of things. Morality will protect you from narcissist people, from self-destruction, and from gang stalking. Moral behavior literally protects you. It literally protects you. And anyone that is trying to dissuade you or to nudge you into behaving immorally, you get rid of. You want to make sure that you're never too tired to the point where someone can offer you methamphetamine and be like, oh, here, do you want to feel better? You want to make sure that you don't get to that point. So you want to be well rested and you want to make sure that your mind cannot be manipulated. So staying focused on work, on your body, on living a good life, on making money, keeping your focus on that will keep gang stalking away. And yes, you will encounter people that will try to pull you back into gang stalking, but that's why you block them. And anyone that is even vaguely making you feel like a target, like anyone that calls you crazy, you just block them. Anyone that talks about any type of immoral behavior, about drugs, just block them. Block, and don't talk to me. Anyone that is harassing you, you take a picture and report. That is how you keep gang stalking at bay. Report everything. And let me tell you, I even got a couple of lug nuts from my car taken off. My car was literally sabotaged. I'm not kidding you. My car was sabotaged. So you want to make sure to invest in good security. Always invest in a good security system. It's the best thing you can do. That's why I put a bunch of cameras around the house and inside and outside of my car. The cameras are running 24/7. And look, I know it sucks and it sucks to feel forced to take such security measures, but let me tell you, you're not going to regret it. You're not going to regret it because you're going to feel confident that these people are as discouraged as possible from messing with you. Never park your car in a secluded area. You want to make sure that you park where there's a lot of people. And yeah, you want to have to take as many measures of security as possible. And like I said, it's better to be paranoid than being concerned all the time about all of these things happening to you. As long as you don't act paranoid, you're going to be acting cautiously, which is exactly what's going to protect you from gang stalking actually invading your life. Now, if you are in the face of gang stalking where you believe that the government is after you, I'm going to tell you one thing. If you're being gang stalked, you just realize how many people are actually involved, right? Like you see it, you lived it. So what makes you think that same is not going to happen online? Notice that gang stalkers are always trying to make you believe that they can communicate within themselves. They acting really weird around you. So what makes you think that they're not going to be acting weird online? So just understand that a lot of the myths about the directed energy weapons, about the V2K, all of those are intended to keep you away from understanding what's really happening. What's really happening is your mind being discombobulated. So you have to make sure to protect your mind at all costs. And you do this by not reading any of that BS. You want to keep your mind out of that possibility. And look, gang stalking content about directed energy weapons is cool if you're not being gang stalked. But when you are being gang stalked, then it can literally confuse you more. It's intended to confuse you more. So just understand that the reason that gang stalkers feel free to harass you like that is because they consider you done. They consider you gone. Because the moment you are a target individual, they know with all of their might that you're going to be dead in a couple of years. So they feel like you're something, that you're their toy. And you want to make sure to not allow that to happen. So anyone that is trying to nudge you or to put any ideas in your head, in any way, shape, or form, you have to understand that they're potentially a gang stalker, so you have to block them. Someone, for example, messaged me on a live stream and said 99% of gamblers quit before they win, quit before the jackpot. That is an attack on my mind because it's encouraging me to keep gambling even when I feel like I should quit. It's encouraging me to not to not listen to my common sense. Another example is someone telling me, "I bet you cannot have a six pack in 2 months." Why are you challenging me to not eat enough to get a six pack in 2 months? And then someone said, "Yeah, you can do it by fasting. Fasting gets rid of the V2K." You know what I mean? So gang stalkers will encourage you to stop eating, to stop taking care of yourself, to keep gambling, to use illicit substances. For example, someone told me, "Oh, crystal meth is a great product." So even though they are statements, they're not telling you, "Oh, you should try crystal meth." They're not telling you, but they're trying to invoke in you the desire or the idea. They are planting seeds in your head. That's an attack. So over time, you're going to start recognizing when someone is trying to plant an idea into your head. And that's exactly what type of comments you have to take really seriously, because that's exactly how I was misled into believing that directed energy weapons were real, because I looked for information about gang stalking, and all I found was people saying, "Oh my God, I'm being attacked with directed energy weapons. The government is after me." And for a little bit, I kind of believed it, but well, I believed it. I believed it like if it was true for a while, but it took a lot of years for me to get there. So it doesn't start as V2K. It evolves into V2K. That's the very last part of gang stalking. So what you have to do is understand the whole operation is that it evolves into believing that the government is after you. Taking no action of gang stalking is the worst thing that you can do, and the hardest part is knowing what is the right action. Gang stalkers will use their facial expressions to, and well, they use your facial expressions, and they will put you in situations that will push you to taking the wrong choice. For example, when I was training a client who was like underage, he was like, I don't know, 15 or 12. This kid literally pushed their junk against me, and this kid literally began grabbing his junk, and he tried to hold my hand. After that, every single time I had that client, I stood 2 meters away from him to make sure that that doesn't happen. I always make sure to have that. So they're gonna try to put you in situations where it's easy for you to make the wrong choice. A client of mine also left $100 on the floor when she left. She left $100. I gave it back to her because I'm not a thief. I can be a lot of things, but a thief I will never be. So I didn't. So a lot of the things that gang stalkers try to frame me as never fit, because those are things that I'm just not. I'm not a pedo and I'm not a thief. But they actively try to push these ideas on me. They try to push the idea of me on the whole thing with the pedo. Like, if you have seen my videos before, you will notice that I have been called a pedo a lot of times in this channel. A lot of times. And that's the thing, is that they're gonna build situations where they will feel justified to call you things, and a lot of times they will even get the law involved. So look, they're gonna try to put you in situations where the law is involved. So you want to make sure to involve the law to put them on your side. You want to make sure to involve the law, and over time, with the reports and with the evidence that you're gonna gather, the cops are gonna know that there is something happening, which is exactly why you have to get rid of anyone that is trying to steer you into taking a wrong choice. And once you do that, and once you accept the possibility of this coming from anyone, you will feel more confident in your actions and your decisions. And you're gonna have to start questioning people that approach you. And this is the best way to discern whether or not someone is a gang stalker in disguise or not. They're gonna have an effect on your life, on how you feel about yourself, on your state of being. If you hang out with someone and and it's sucking up your energy. You're tired. This person is requiring all of your attention. They are doing a lot of things that are making you not take care of yourself so that you can take care of their needs. Call it narcissist, gang stalker, whatever. Stay away from that. Run. You want to make sure that you do not allow anyone to push you into behaving immorally. Influence is really powerful, and it can be pushed to the point where you are literally made to believe that the government is after you. And I'm telling you this because I lived this, I experienced it. And the only reason that I was able to escape it was to accept the fact that there are actual evil people that work in groups that try to bring people down. And they play dirty. And the worst part is that if you do not understand that this is happening to you, you are going to lose. So you want to make sure to understand everything that I'm telling you. And once you start reporting, you're going to notice that they are going to accept the fact that they cannot mess with you. They're still going to try to get at you, but that's why you have to always keep your defenses on. Please understand, gang stalking is a life sentence. And anyone that participates in your gang stalking, directly or indirectly, is your enemy. And you have to make sure to stay as far away as possible from any person that participates in it. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. If you do not know who I am Efren Rodriguez Herrero, and I experienced gang stalking for 7 years. It began as manipulation, and it ended up as me believing that I was being attacked by the government, that I heard V2K, I was feeling weird sensations, and the only reason that I am coherent is because I understood how gang stalking works, and I want to make sure that you understand it too. The evidence that gang stalking is real is by looking at videos of people that believe that they are being gang stalked, and notice that they all believe that they are being harassed by the government. A lot of them go as far as talk about electronic harassment, about them being harassed with direct energy weapons. And that is a symptom of gang stalking, but gang stalking harassment snowballs into that. But it starts as manipulation. So the moment you are able to recognize manipulation, that is when you are able to get rid of anyone that is attacking you as in gang stalking. Anyone that harasses you as anyone that harasses you, you want to make sure to make it public. Make it public, and that in itself is your best defense. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If this content helps you, entertains you, or adds any value to your life, please consider subscribing to the channel, dropping a comment, dropping a like. And please understand that the goal of this channel is to prevent people from going through with it, because it was freaking awful. It was freaking awful, and it was a nightmare of 7 years. And if I put away or put all the information out there, people hopefully can come across these videos and understand everything about gang stalking from the get-go to the point where they just stop the whole operation. And for that to happen, people have to find these videos as soon as they type gang stalking. So for that to happen, this channel needs to grow. So I would appreciate it if you would push the like button, push the hype button, share on your social media. Or if you would like to go above and beyond, say, please consider becoming a member to the channel, less than $5 a month, or you can make a donation. There is a link to it in the description of the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.